Our setting in the book is in 1938 Indian Island off the coast of the UK. This is important to the book because the island is isolated and no one can swim to the mainland for help.
The protagonist in the story is Mr. Justice Wargrave. He is the protagonist because he killed William Henry Bloor. He also killed Emily Brent. Our third reason is he killed Anthony Marston.
The antagonist of the story is Mr. Justice Wargrave. We believe this because he killed Edward Armstrong. He also killed Ethel Rogers, and he also killed Thomas Rogers.
The point of view is third-person omniscient. We believe this because of the story lets us into their thoughts and states their names in third-person form.
Our pillar is courage. Examples are when Bloor and Lombard chase after Armstrong throughout the house. Another example is when Bloor, Armstrong, and Lombard go to search for the killer on the island. The last example is when Wargrave, Vera, Bloor, and Armstrong went looking for the revolver.
Ladies and gentlemen, silence, please. Everyone was startled. They looked at each other, at the walls. Who was speaking? The voice went on, a high, clear voice. You are charged with the following indictments. Edward George Armstrong, that you did upon the 14th day of March. Emily Caroline Brent, that upon 5th of November, 1931, you were responsible for the death of Beatrice Taylor. William Henry Bloor, that you brought upon the death of James Stephen Lundor on October 10, 1928. Vera Elizabeth Thorne, that on the 11th day of August, 1935, you killed Cyril Olive Hamilton. Philip Lambour, that upon a date in February 1932, you were guilty of the death of 21 men, members of an East African tribe. John Gordon MacArthur, that the 4th of January 1917, you deliberately sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Anthony James Marston, that upon the 14th day of November lost. You were guilty of murder of John and Lucy Combs. Thomas Rogers and Ethel Rogers, that on the 6th of May, 1929, you brought the death of Jennifer Brady. Lawrence John Wargrave, that upon the 10th day of June, 1930, you were guilty of the murder of Edward Seaton, prisoner, 1925, the cause of Louisa Mary Cleese. Prisoners at the bar, have you anything to say in your defense?
At the end of dinner, all of the guests made a toast, and Anthony Marston made a speech. The legal life's narrowing. I'm all for crime. Here's to it. At this, he picked up his glass and drank it, choked, gasped for air, and then fell from his chair. He was dead.
After the events of the day, they all went to bed. In the morning, when Rogers got up to make breakfast, he found that his wife, Mrs. Rogers, would not wake, so he went to get Dr. Armstrong. Due to some cyanide in her cup of tea that she had before she went to bed, she died during the night.
When it was still lunchtime, everybody was sitting down to lunch. General MacArthur was still at the beach. Dr. Armstrong went to get him and found him dead due to a blow to the head.
Thomas Rogers was found dead by an axe to the head while chopping wood for a fire. The handle was wiped down and there was no trace of the murderer.
Emily Brent was murdered by a small amount of sleeping draught put in her morning coffee, then was injected with a dose of cyanide.
As Vera ran into some seaweed hanging in her room, Justice Wargrave, who was the murderer all along, faked his death by a bullet to the head.
Dr. Armstrong did not think the judge was the murderer. That was a mistake. Wargrave, who certainly could have been a red herring, pushed Armstrong off a cliff and into the sea, where he drowned.
William Bloor was killed by a bear-shaped clock that has dropped on him by the judge as he was walking to the house.
The ninth death was Lombard when Vera shot him with his revolver as he lunged at her.
Vera, after shooting Lombard, she went back up to her room and found a noose in place with a chair under it, so she hung herself. And then there were none.